simple explanation on buying or selling puts and calls. So puts and calls are options. They're options on stocks. But it's not just options on stocks. I mean, you can relate this to something outside of the stock market. And oftentimes when I'm trying to explain it to a layperson who's not familiar with the stock market, I would say, maybe you're familiar with real estate. And with real estate, if there's a house that I want to buy, I might go to that owner and say, I'd like to buy your house, but I would like to lease it for a while first before I buy it. So I would like to lease it, but have the option to buy it. So I'm going to give that person money for that option to buy it. And what that does is it gives me control of the house. If I have the option to buy it, they can't sell it to anybody else. So it's my option, and I have a certain time period to exercise that option. When you're doing it with a house, you might have a year or 2 years that you're leasing this house from them before you have to make a decision. Now, if you decide not to exercise that option, they get to keep the money that you paid them for the option. If you do exercise it, now you're just going to exercise whatever it was that you paid, whatever the agreement was. Okay? The seller of the house gets to keep the option premium regardless. Now I have control of the house. I can do whatever I want with the house for that year or two while I'm leasing it. I can rent it out to somebody else. I can sell that option to somebody else, or I can exercise it at any point in time. It works the same way with options on the stock market. You're just buying an option to purchase some shares. That's with a call. You're buying an option to purchase some shares. With a put, what you're buying is the option to sell somebody shares at a certain price. So the puts are a little more complicated to kind of get that into your head. But if I buy a put, if I buy the put at a $100 strike price, that gives me the right to say whoever buys that contract from me has to buy 100 shares of the underlying stock for $100. That's what that put allows me to do. Now, why would I do that? I would do that to protect my downside. So if I'm in this stock for $125 and I think, or the stock's at $125 or it's at $100, whatever it's at, above 100, and I'm thinking, I would love the ability that if the worst thing happens, the market drops out from under us, I can still get $100 for that stock. That's what a put is for. So I would find out how much is a put. How far out do I need to go? You can choose different expiration dates. So you got to know and you got to figure out what is the time frame going to be in order to fit the protection that you need. So if I need just protection this week because I'm going to sell the stock next week, I expect a big event to happen. Maybe we've got earnings coming up and I'm sitting on the stock and I want to make sure that if earnings go badly for some reason, I'm protected. You buy the put, and if the stock drops, I can still sell it at the price, the strike price of the put. Now I'm still out the option. Okay, so there's always a break-even period. So if I bought the 100 strike, and let's say I paid $500 for it, that means my net is going to be, my break-even is going to be if the stock drops below $95. Then it was worthwhile for me to buy that put and then exercise it if the stock drops. If it doesn't drop below that, I mean, as long as it drops under 100, I'm going to exercise it if I want to give up, or if I want somebody to buy my shares. But you don't have to. You have the opportunity to exercise it if you want to. Usually if it's in the money, you do it. Okay, because you want to recoup some of that cost that you spent. And then when you sell them the stock, you could buy back the stock at whatever the price is. But you're going to have the $100 per share. So that's how the puts work. On the call side, obviously you're buying the option to purchase shares at a certain price. So on the flip side, you buy an option at $100. You buy the $100 strike price. Now, regardless of where that stock price goes, I have the option to buy it at $100. And I'm going to pay somebody for that opportunity. Typically, You don't want to exercise it if it's less than $100. That's considered out of the money. At expiration date, that's considered out of the money. There's no reason to exercise it because you could just go buy the shares for less. If the stock price is $95, I'm not going to exercise my call to buy shares at $100. I'm going to let that expire worthless, and I'm just going to buy the shares if I want them. So that's how the calls work. Hopefully that answers your question. Feel free to ask some more if you want some more information. I hope you found value in today's video. If you'd like to find out more about IUL and whole life, check out these videos right over here, and we'll see you next time. Now go maximize your cash flow.